Hello everyone, this is Soren the Eagle, and welcome to my 1.5 spotlight of Electrodynamics. This is a mod in the alpha stage made by CyanideX and his team of modders. So without further ado, let's get right into it. These here are the rubber trees. They are similar to industrial crafts, except they have a very different mechanism of getting their product, and their product, instead of being rubber, is liquid latex. So the way of getting this liquid latex involves three things: a spud peeler, a bucket, and a tree tap. So all you have to do to get your liquid latex is right click on the rubber tree, and it glitches out sometimes, but when it does work, it will give you this little picture right here. And this is just a hole in which you put your... Okay, doesn't want to work now. That's weird. Well, it is an alpha mod, so that is to be expected. So you just put your tree tap in it, and then it will bring the sap out. But the sap has nowhere to go, so it'll just fall out, theoretically. In the actual game, it will just not do anything, but then all you have to do is collect the sap with a bucket, and the bucket will collect all the sap, and it will become liquid latex, which can then be used in other recipes which are not yet added to the game because the mod isn't that far in development. It's only in its alpha stage, and liquid latex so far has no actual use, which kinda sucks, but it's something to look forward to. Now this here is wormwood, and it will spawn in your plains biomes, and there's also a dead version of it that will spawn in your desert biomes, and it'll drop these wormwood leaves, which have no use yet, but they will in the future, just like with the liquid latex, and this twine, which is used in making a sieve and a hand sieve. Now onto the ores. There are several: chalcopyrite, cobalite, galena, magnetite, nickel, wolframite, voidstone, bluestone, and greenstone. Chalcopyrite, cobalite, galena, magnetite, nickel, wolframite will all spawn around iron level. The only one that doesn't is the voidstone, and it spawns adjacent to bedrock around the 2 to 6 level, since that's about where bedrock spawns, which makes sense since it theoretically comes from the void. Bluestone and greenstone, I don't think their spawning has been integrated yet, since I haven't found any, which is kind of weird, but guess that just means it's not integrated yet. This is another kind of ore that will spawn around clay called lithium enriched clay. And this is limestone. It spawns similar to the way the marble in Red Power 2 spawns, and which makes sense because this was originally going to be a Red Power 2 mod add-on, but it isn't anymore because LRAM wouldn't allow that, because she likes to work alone and doesn't want anybody helping her, even if it's a mod add-on, which is respectable, but oh well, what are you gonna do? And so it became its own mod. This is brittle limestone. I don't really know how to get this yet, but I'm assuming it comes through the process of the limestone. Limestone bricks, which are just made from limestone in the good old brick fashion, and the brickier limestone bricks, which are made in pretty much the same way. And once you've processed all these things, you can turn them into blocks: copper, lead, lodestone, nickel, tellurium, and tungsten blocks. And they all follow the typical block pattern with light on the inside, a little dark ring on the outside, but I think it looks a lot better because it has kind of a the OCD pack look to it, if you've ever seen that pack, and this lodestone has kind of a metallic look to it, which I really like, and I'll definitely be using these in a lot of my builds. This here is the Tesla armor, and eventually it's going to have a bunch of add-ons like the factorization armor, but all it has right now is the magnetic pull, and you just press down shift and you just toss one in there, and it does its thing. There we go, and I dropped one. So this will just pull nearby items closer to you, and you saw the little particle effect right there. Now, this next one is definitely the most important part of the mod, and it's definitely my favorite. It is the table. The table, you can just put any item you want on it. You can just show off your swag. But there is a much more important use to it when you put a stone slab on top of it and then right-click it with a hammer. It becomes the smashing table. The smashing table is part of the ore processing, and it's all very useful because these things by themselves cannot be smelted directly. They have to be smashed on the smashing table, or else you'll get just a pile of yuck. So you just have to smash all the ores into their smashified forms, and then you pick them up, like so. Now, still, smelting these things will just get you gunk, so you have to toss them in this next tool called the sieve. The sieve will process them correctly, and some of them it doesn't want to, like the greenstone and bluestone it appears to have a problem with, but everything else it just does fine. You just toss it in there, wait a couple seconds, and it pops right out. Does the same thing with ground and wolframite. Bam, and ground nickel, as well as all the other ground things. The only one it doesn't seem to like is the bluestone and greenstone. I'm assuming since it hasn't been fully integrated would be the reason for that. And you can just smelt this normally in a normal furnace, but what is the fun in that? What is the fun in just smelting things? And there, as you can see, it will smelt it perfectly, but this mod has a very special way of processing it, which is much more efficient and can smelt more of them at one time. It'll smelt at the same speed as a furnace, and it will smelt 9 at a time, and that is the sintering oven. Now, you're looking at this thing and you probably expect there to be like some fancy GUI or something, and you're probably right-clicking it and wondering what the heck is wrong. Well, all you have to do is shift right-click it, and it will magically open. Now, this still won't work because you have to put some coal in it to light it up, and the more coal you put in it, the longer it'll last. And instead of having a smelting value on things, this will have a time value, so you can smelt as many things as you want in the time that you are given with it. But you cannot just toss in your dusts. That won't work. Instead, you need a metal tray, and in the metal tray you just put your dusts in. You can even put in more than one type if you want, and then you just toss it in there. It's great. And it'll work even with non-dust things, I believe, and it will eventually come out like disappearing. That is another bug. Again, this is an alpha, but I'm going to show you a little bug with it. Oh, there it is. Disappeared for a second there. Maybe I just didn't notice it. A little bug that's with it. If you shift-click things in, only one will go in. So I don't recommend shift-clicking things into this furnace. And they will come out looking like this. And all you have to do to look at it is shift-click and pull it right out. And that's pretty much it for the basic processing, and there's only one thing left to be shown, and it's, in my opinion, the coolest thing. It is the sintering furnace. Now, for the sintering furnace, you're going to need some conveyor belts, sintering furnace frames, a sintering furnace gauge, a valve, a heater, and vents. So you just have to arrange them in the conveyor belts in a 7x1 line with two 7x1 lines of frames on the side, a 5x1 line of frames on the top, actually a 5x3 on the top, and then you just replace these three middle ones with vents, and then you place a heater, a valve, and a gauge on it, and then it will be ready. And then all you have to do to make it look like this is right-click it with the stone hammer, and the invalid structure thing down there is another bug, which is awesome. I'll have plenty of bugs to report later. So thanks for watching this detailed mod spotlight. I hope you got a lot from it, and go download the mod. It's really awesome, and I hope you enjoy it once you download it. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.